Hello everybody, it's TannerFishies here, back again with a new Ninjago video here on the channel. In today's video, we are going to be discussing round 11 of my Ninjago Hot Takes series. This is the series of videos where I ask you guys, the audience, to submit your own Ninjago hot takes into a corresponding post on my community tab, and naturally in today's video, we're going to be going over a couple of those hot takes that you guys submitted. It's been a long time since I've covered a hot takes video on this channel, so I am very excited to get into Ninjago's hot takes coming from, again, you guys. Before we begin today's video though, I do need to give a couple of quick disclaimers. As usual, these hot takes belong to real people, real subscribers or viewers of this channel, and as such, I will in fact be showcasing usernames in today's video. Now keep in mind, hot takes are supposed to be kind of spicy or controversial in nature, and as such, you may find yourself disagreeing with several of the takes presented in today's video, but that's supposed to happen. Please do not feel the need to go out and harass anyone whose name is featured in today's video. That's just no fun. We're all here to have fun and to talk about some controversial Ninjago opinions, and harassing someone over their opinions is no good, as I said. And for a final quick disclaimer, we had a whole bunch of people submit hot takes for today's video, and as such, I was not able to include everybody's in this one video here today. I wish I could have, but I simply do not have that time on me, and we had hundreds of hot takes submitted, so I just picked a couple of my favorites and some that I thought would make for good discussions. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on into it. Here we have round 11 of my Ninjago hot take series, and I hope you enjoy. I like the actual LEGO sets, but I'm not too huge a fan of the show itself. Now, I picked this take because I thought it was extremely interesting. Usually you hear the opposite, people that really enjoy the Ninjago show, but maybe don't dabble in the sets themselves due to various reasons, budgetary restrictions, or maybe they just don't like building LEGO sets, but the show itself is usually what people who are fans of Ninjago gravitate towards. The sets are a secondary thing. At least that's what I've seen, and that's how I operate. And I've never really seen a take like this, a Ninjago fan that likes the sets but not really the show. That's interesting to think about. I really liked this take and I wanted to include it in today's video. Hot take: the new animation style since season 11 just looks cheap. The characters look more like a children's cartoon, and having a random chicken running around is just a terrible attempt at comedic relief, ruining intense scenes. I do agree with you that the chicken is a little obnoxious. I'm not sure what the chicken's deal is. Of course, the chicken that made his grand debut in season 11. In terms of the animation style looking cheap, I'll say it's not as, I guess, solidified as prior Ninjago seasons have made the animation, but in my opinion that's a good thing because it allows for more fluid movement, better fight scenes in my opinion. I really enjoy the newer style of Ninjago animation, and I do believe it has some strengths over the original animation that we saw from Wilfilm. And I personally can appreciate both animation studios that have worked on Ninjago in the past. I believe they each have their benefits and their weaknesses. The new intros are better than the Weekend Whip intros because they're chill to hear. Usually we see a lot of negative comments directed towards the newer Wild Brain style Ninjago intros, so seeing a positive perspective of these intros is pretty nice and refreshing. I really enjoy the Weekend Whip intros a little bit more though. Again, the Fold is just a staple of Ninjago in its development, in its history, and I believe that they deserve to still be in the intros to this very day, but the newer intros, I guess I can see where this comment is coming from. Ultimately though, I would still say that I personally prefer the older style of intro. Hot take: Prime Empire was horrible. It felt just plain underwhelming. Unagami was lackluster, Kai was the worst comic relief in that season, and Jay didn't even get that much development. It's overall one of the weakest seasons. I have seen in the past that Prime Empire has received a lot of mixed reactions since it's come out. I personally don't think the season is all that bad, maybe a little bit less memorable than some other seasons, but I still find Prime Empire's story to be interesting and very unique for the Ninjago series. Master of the Mountain isn't that great. Apart from the stuff about Cole's mother, I found it really boring and sort of tedious to watch. The Skull Sorcerer was an okay villain, but I hated when he was Vangelis, and Vanya is one of my least favorite side characters. You keep expecting her to be evil, but she didn't really end up doing much. I can see where this comment is coming from in the sense that you kind of expect Vanya to be evil because Lloyd kind of sets that up, but I believe that Vanya becoming good was a nice change of pace for Princess Ninjago characters. But in terms of season 13 being boring or tedious, I didn't really feel that when watching the season, to be honest. I sort of just really enjoyed it. Season 13 is one of my personal favorite Ninjago seasons. I can't really name anything explicitly wrong with season 13, except for maybe some episodes being weaker than some other ones. But overall, I liked season 13 and all of the plot twists that came with it, including the Skull Sorcerer being Vangelis and Vanya actually being good. I liked that about season 13, but I can understand if some people didn't really care for it all that much. I feel like in most seasons, half the ninja could be cut from the story and nothing would change. I can totally see where this comment is coming from too, and a most recent example would be Seabound, where Kai and Cole literally do nothing the entire season, or at least during the first half. If they were cut entirely from the season, I doubt the story would change much at all. The only thing that I disagree with regarding this comment is that I feel like the term most seasons isn't super accurate here. I'd say only in very specific cases, like Seabound, sure, maybe Master of the Mountain, so I don't feel like this comment applies to the majority of Ninjago seasons, if that makes sense. The legacy suits aren't that bad. I really like the Dragon Prince, they just look really simple yet sleek. I agree with this comment 100%. I think the legacy suits aren't actually that bad in terms of how they look. I just think the big problem that people have with them is just how repetitive they ended up being. Those things appeared in the majority of Ninjago legacy sets, and if you were a collector of Ninjago legacy, you would probably get sick of building the same figure again and again. Most definitely in the case of Legacy Kai. So I can see why people are fed up with the Legacy Ninja, but like this comment said, I don't think they look bad. Hot take, they are taking way too much time to release season 16. They should hurry up and release it before they lose fans. If they speed it up, maybe fans would be happier. Me personally, I'm fine with waiting. I don't know about you guys, but I don't feel like the season should be rushed at all. Usually rushed content, no matter if it's a video game, a movie, a television show, if it's rushed, it has a higher chance of being bad and not as good as it could have been. Apparently the Ninjago staff is still working on the next Ninjago season, and if they take a lot more time to release it, I think that would be okay, just because it gives them more time to develop something fantastic. I'd rather have a great Ninjago season that took a while to come out than a mediocre Ninjago season that was released immediately. I don't think Ninjago's going to lose fans over this. I just think people are going to move on to something else in the meantime, but maybe come back once Ninjago actually does start coming out again. Hot take, Nia should stay dead. We need something to shake up the team, and I feel like they haven't had any team changes or many changes at all since season 11. We need a palate cleanser. Bring back Skylar. Yeah, bring back Skylar. Why not? Skylar deserves some more spotlight for sure. Palate cleanser. I'd say Nia transitioning to her water form or her NRG form, whatever you want to call it. I think that was a good way to shake things up. That gives the ninja team one less human member, adding more diversity, maybe a little bit of variety between each of the ninja team members. I think that works out a lot. I don't think Nia deserves to stay dead. I don't think she needs to stay dead, but I can understand where this comment is coming from. I do agree though. Bring back Skylar. As I said, absolutely bring back Skylar. Hot take, I think Nia was a bad girlfriend to Jay. She barely says I love you to Jay when he says it so much to her, plus she knowingly cheats on Jay, who has been nothing but faithful to her, as well as how she takes both Jay, a man that shows her nothing but love, and Cole, had only shown her feelings of friendship, to a double date. It should have been an easy choice. Don't get me wrong, I love Jaya and they are so cute together, but I think Nia is giving 50% while Jay gives 100% into their relationship. I can comfortably say that I've never really seen a comment like this. Most people that I know and talk to love the Jay and Nia ship. It's one of the most popular Ninjago ships in the entirety of the series, but that doesn't mean that they've been perfect this entire time. There have totally been certain roadblocks and obstacles that they needed to pass in order to get to where they are now, and sometimes I do agree with you that maybe Nia could step it up a little bit, but I can also find examples of the same caliber for Jay as well. I think there was just a time where they were both kind of in a rough position, and maybe their relationship wasn't the best thing to focus on, but nowadays in the Ninjago series, of course prior to Ninjago Seabound, I'd say they were pretty cute together, and they make a pretty good match. I think that Jay and Nia are still my favorite Ninjago couple overall, so while I don't agree with this comment, I do agree that their relationship has never been 100% perfect. The first episodes of Season 11 are underrated. They are awesome with the ninja looking to get back in shape. It's unique to me, and I'm not saying Season 11 is great, I'm saying the first few episodes are great. The first few episodes of Season 11, I can see why people would like them, I guess. Me personally, I thought it was a pretty interesting start to Season 11, but looking at other season premieres, I feel like Season 11's premiere might have been a little bit weaker in terms of what it was trying to do, but then again, Season 11 itself is a pretty weak, forgettable season overall, so in general, I can understand what this comment is saying again. I don't know if I agree with it though. I mean, it certainly is interesting, but I'm not sure if the first few episodes of Season 11 are going to be super memorable for me personally, as opposed to other things in the Ninjago series. Hot take, Vex is one of the best Ninjago villains. This whole manipulating thing with Zane was great in my opinion. I don't really see a lot of people praising General Vex too much. I mean, Vex is an interesting guy for sure. He was interesting during season 11, especially when he was trying to manipulate Zane, that is true. But I don't see a lot of people praising him all that much, so this comment again was really refreshing to see. My personal thoughts on Vex, I mean, he's not the most memorable Ninjago villain out there or anything like that, and he's certainly not one of the best in my opinion, but I feel like for what he was trying to do during season 11, I think it worked very well for him, and he made a statement for himself as a big part of the Ninjago villain catalog. Zane desperately needs more plot relevance other than just the smart one, or the robot, because he seems like a side character with Pixel at this point. Even with Pixel, I don't know if I'd consider her a side character. With Zane, he's definitely not a side character in my opinion, but I guess in a weird way I can kind of understand this point. I mean, usually Zane being the robot character makes him vulnerable for various things to happen to him, such as really traumatic or painful events that you could not do for human characters. Honestly though, with Zane and Pixel especially, I don't consider them to be side characters. I feel like they both have the same amount of relevance as the other ninja. And here's the last one that we're going to be taking a look at today. It says, hot take, Nia should stay in her water form when she supposedly reunites with the other ninja instead of reverting back to her human self. It would add some more variety to the ninja lineup, having 4 normal humans, a ninjroid, and a water entity, and it could provide some interesting stories or subplots into the show. Yeah, for sure, we were just talking about that earlier. Nia being in her water form instead of reverting back to a human and rejoining the ninja would be more interesting than her simply going back to her older self. I really hope the Ninjago series does not do that. Imagine having a pure elemental being on the team as well. That would be interesting. Even if Nia's not necessarily a ninja, having her on the team in her pure water form would certainly make for an interesting and diverse team lineup, that's for sure. In terms of having interesting stories or subplots, yes, most definitely they could totally do that. I could honestly see an episode focusing on Nia trying to fit into normal life and normal society after becoming this pure water being. I think that could make for a very fun story. I think a lot of people are desperate to see Nia just back in anyway, and I feel like a lot of people do want her to become human again, but I kind of want to see her stay in her NRG form now, just so we can get some interesting stories like this, and it would make the actual ninja team seem more appealing and interesting. And with that being said, you guys, that'll pretty much wrap it up for all of the hot takes that we have time for in today's video. Thank you all so much for tuning in, everybody. Hopefully you enjoyed this edition of my Ninjago hot takes series. Let me know down below in the comments which hot take you thought was the most controversial, or which of these spicy Ninjago opinions do you agree with the most. And let me know if you guys want to see round 12 of this series, because we could totally do that at some point in the near future. Thank you all so much for watching today's video once again. If you enjoyed, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and as always, check out the links down below in the description for my other forms of social media. Thank you all so much for watching today's video once again, you guys. My name is TannerFishies, and with that, I bid you farewell.